Please give a big Greenville welcome to Matty Healy of the 1975, the Grammy-nominated 1975. Congrats on that. So we are very excited to have you here in our fair city of Greenville to do a show for us for the first time, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I believe so. So we've got some lovely fans of the band here to pick your brain and ask you some questions. So we are going to get started with Haley.
Do you ever plan on playing Antichrist live?
I kind of do. We have plans for like the end of this campaign. It's weird that you just standing there. Does it feel weird? I'm gonna sit down and I'll keep looking at you.
Oh yeah.
You can be the mic guy. You're mic guy now.
There we go.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think that we're gonna kind of do a bunch of stuff at the end of the year that's going to be like more retrospective than everything that we've been doing. Because I'm really bad at that. I mean, Antichrist has become a bit of a meme in itself, and I kind of didn't want to kill that for a little. But yeah, I don't need it. I don't need it. Yeah, so it's like we're going to be doing things that are kind of. We're going to be doing like a series of shows and stuff. And yeah, I'm sure we'll play it at some point. We have to puncture it at some point, but it's not my priority.
So with your upcoming album, are there any like unexpected or non-conventional ways that you came up with this songwriting process?
I mean, it's like all the records have had like the meat of them like done over like a particular time. The first album was very much like that. The first album was a series of songs that we all kind of, it was written and demoed, and then we had loads of songs, and then we just went in and recorded it. I like When You Sleep was kind of similar, like I'd say the most like real time kind of thing. It's like very much a series of like snapshots, because we haven't spent that much time in one particular place doing it. You know, because sonically, like that makes a difference. For example, if you're recording on like all the same microphones, or like if you leave the drums set up for like 4 days and you track like 3 things, it feels the same. You know what I mean? Or you're in the same place. And so it's really very. All our records are varied, you know, but it's very varied totally, you know, like sonically and all that kind of thing. But yeah, it's exciting. We're just getting to the tail end of finishing it.
So, what are some of your favorite lyrics that you wrote and why was your favorite?
It's a hard question for me to answer, you know what I mean? You know, I think that I like, well, give yourself a try. I like the lyrics in that song. I like it when it's like, I like funny but not slapstick, you know what I mean? Like, I think that what I find, not what I try to do, but what I find when I like talk to people about stuff that they like, is that like, when I go really inward, it kind of is more outward. When I'm writing, sometimes I'll write something and I'll be like, oh, I've said this before, but like, I'll feel that it's like so specific to me, right? I'll be like, no one else feels, you know, it'll be like the most, but that'll be the line that everybody relates to, you know? Because, you know, I'm quite interested in all of that, in like, how we all have this kind of like, a similar story. There's a really interesting thing you can read about called like the Barnum experiment, where this guy essentially had a group of people and he spoke to them for like 15 minutes each, and then he went away and he gave them each like a kind of 200-word essay on what he thought their like past was like and what he thought they were like, and like 5 out of the 6 people were brought to tears by the specificity of what this guy had come up with and all of these things. I was going to write a novel when I was 17, or 17, and everyone was really moved by it. And then he asked them to swap their papers, and everybody had exactly the same thing. And I think that there's so much of that in art, you know what I mean? Because you kind of, you put your own, it's that whole thing, like once you've written a song, it doesn't really belong to you. So like a lot of my favourite lyrics have been ones that I've not really thought of. Like, Don't You Mind happens to be this thing that people, like loads of people have that tattooed and stuff like that. And like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm always super into what I'm doing at the moment as well. So like all my favourite lyrics on the new record and stuff. But yeah. I know, sorry, I didn't answer the question.
If you could play with any artist who is no longer with us, who would it be?
Okay, let's make it specific. Play with them, like jam with them.
Yeah, sure.
It would have always been Michael Jackson when I was growing up. Because I always wanted to meet Michael Jackson. I just wanted to know that I saw him live when I was like 7 or something. Like, that would have been my thing. Now, but still, it's like, I've been really lucky, you know, I've met a lot of people that I really, really admire. I think that Jimi Hendrix, but you know, was on a level, even though he's quite like a broad person, now he's like so famous for just being like Jimi Hendrix and the outfits and stuff. He was kind of doing things on a level that nobody else was really doing. And I think that, you know, I think about Jimi Hendrix was alive now, like he wouldn't even be playing the guitar, you know, he'd be like some next level. And my God, Jimi. I think that I've always taken real inspiration from that Woodstock performance, that Jimi Hendrix performance where he played the Star Spangled Banner and his guitar, and it was like really atonal and like it was about Vietnam and everyone was at war and he made it sound like kind of bombs dropping and stuff like that. I think that like, and he was like a headliner, you know, like Joe Cocker didn't do that, and then you know like fucking Jefferson Airplane didn't do that, you know, it's like he was a real revolutionary figure. So I mean, all those guys, all the greats, man. Like Kurt Cobain, like, I want to be in a band. But if we could start a band with like a young Kurt Cobain, that was what I would do, and I would just stand back. They made my life so much easier. Hi. Hi.
What's your favorite part about touring in America and playing cities you've never played in before?
I had this the other day, like I'm a super nostalgic person, like I really feel it. I was driving to New York and it reminded me of the first time that we ever came to play in America. You gotta remember, like I'm sure that there's a lot of like I'm sure American culture romanticizes England quite a lot and stuff like that. But America's, you know, in regards to like movies and stuff like that and like mass consumer culture internationally, it's kind of like the primary cultural hub. So when I grew up, like America was kind of where stuff was, and so like when I first like came to like New York City or whatever, it's like a character from a film in itself. You know what I mean? Like, and California, the same thing. And then I also grew up like an emo kid, so like the Midwest was this place that no one gives a fuck about in America. But for me, it's like the coolest place in the world because it's this. I related to that because I was kind of from nowhere and bored and all that stuff. But I've always, the things that I really remembered about touring America is like just driving through like Nebraska and stuff and like seeing how big, the sky is really big here. Stuff goes on like really far. It's really expansive and it's like kind of eerie, like how big it is. Like if you're not used to it. Like we always notice that, like the one thing we notice is how big everything is. Like the distance between like two sides of the street is so far. You know, and it's because you've got so much space to fill. it's such a big fucking place. You got to like fill it up. You know, you can't walk around anywhere really. You got to drive everywhere, and that's kind of weird. But yeah, I mean, America's just like super romantic for us. You know? And we spent a lot of time here, and you see a lot of bands like the Stones, like in the 70s, kind of went to America, got seduced by like American culture, went back to the UK, did a bunch of that, and then sold it back to the Americans. You know what I mean? Like I feel like we kind of did that before we even got to America. Like we'd grown up on American culture, you know. So yeah.
What is one song you wish you had written?
God Only Knows by the Beach Boys.
Go.
And we could do that for hours. Like, funny they made that film, right, about the guy who wakes up and no one's heard of the Beatles. How many, I don't know if I've thought about that so much. I'd go back in time and I had like 10 minutes, like what songs I would collect the sheet music for. Yeah man, I mean like, you know, the greatest songs are the ones that we always say, like, we're always in search of stuff that feels like it's been unearthed as opposed to written. You know, like you found it, it's always been there, like, God Only Knows, like, Can't Help Falling in Love with You by Elvis. I mean, you know, the list goes on. I think God Only Knows is the most complete song ever though, in regards to like musicality, being inventive, being listenable, and having amazing sentiment. What's yours?
Oh God, I don't even.
It's
hard, yeah, it's hard on the spot.
No, I know. I'm joking.
If you could have picked another single for any of your albums, what would it have been and why?
Is that a loaded question? What do you mean? What do you think should have been a single? What prompted that question?
I don't know, because I feel like sometimes, I guess, when musicians are just starting out and they don't have so much control over things.
Yeah. Well, I was interested in what I asked you. So that's never been the situation with 75 because we own our record label now, but there isn't a doing a tie or there isn't one of those people. If Jamie, who I'm sure if you're a big fan, you know his name, and that's kind of it. So I decide singles are basically when I'm writing an album, stuff that I go, oh yeah, I suppose that is a song that maybe the radio will play. That's as far as it goes. You know, like, because I kind of feel bad. That's why I do stuff like this. This kind of stuff like makes me a bit like, oh, sometimes, well, that is fine when I do it, but the build up is a bit like, no, I don't know how to do it. But I also feel like I need to get back to the radio because I've given them like Greta Thunberg song and People. Like, work with that. Yeah, that's not a lot to work. So it's kind of like, I don't really care. Maybe that's why we get bigger and stuff, because alternative kids or people who are into alternative culture are like, oh, I like that. But a single is just what I can get away with now. Because I can't, if I start writing a single, it'll be so bad. You know, it'll be so bad. We just have to go. Normally I have to get people to tell me what a single is. Normally the first song that people hear, that has to be a single. But that's just decided by me ages before, you know. Because it has to be like a primary statement, you know? Like, love me, you couldn't do love me like third. On I Can See, you couldn't do Give Yourself a Try third. So it's the same with people on this record. So. But the answer to your question, I mean, it would probably be, I wish Falling For You was on the first album a little bit, because then we would have like re-recorded it and people would have been like, oh, I like the old version, and they would have gotten over it. It was really cool, like with sex and stuff like that. So and then we would have done a video for Falling For You. I've always had this idea of doing a video for Falling For You anyway. So yeah, so Falling For You, or probably I always wanted Die maybe on the last album, but I really wanted to like leave this moment where what I thought was almost like the best thing on the record is kind of left to like the very last thing that people heard, you know.
Hi.
I'm Jess, by the way. That's where it's
Oh, okay, so we'll do it more casual.
So what is your inspiration every single day? What makes you want to get up and write these beautiful songs that are so inspirational? Is it the fans? Do you do it for us, or is it something deeper?
I think it's a bit of both now. I mean, it's like, there's this great like Rilke quote. He's like a German poet, and he was kind of like saying that, sit down in the middle of the night, ask yourself the question like, would it kind of like kill you to not write? Would it be like some kind of insane spiritual castration? Like if it's not, don't do it. And kind of like don't ever try. Like and if it is, set up your life in order to do that, you know? So I think because I kind of follow that principle by now, I don't really know. Because I kind of actively make it my purpose. It is my purpose, like if you actively make anything your purpose. But it spiritually kind of is, what's the point in me if I don't do this? You know, like, there's no point in me if I don't do this. So, and that's not to be like, you know, self-deprecating or performative, or, you know, it's just like, it's how I get purpose. It's why I am, it's what I do, you know, and I think I do it for me, because like, I'm also like the guy who like can't hack out a job and it's all like, there's loads of shit going on, and like I love making music. Like I love listening to music, I love playing music. I get so excited about people's music, and now like I run a record label and I get to do that for jobs. So like, I'm totally like immersed by it.
The sweet life.
That's exactly it. That's who I am. So I think that that's what gets me up in the morning. And now I'm kind of like trying to just put in a little bit to myself. Just like growing up, quite enjoying growing up. Used to kind of like worry about it. But now I think it's good to like kind of look after yourself a little bit. But yeah.
Will you sing Nana, by the way? That's just one for Emily right beside me. It's one of our
that song, we never did a full band version of that. We never did a full band version of Mine. We never did a full band version of, there's a couple of things that I do think about that sometimes. You know, I'm always doing this so many, I'd say 5 songs now.
Yeah.
And I don't really want to do a Foo Fighters yet, or do like 3-hour shows. You know,
Yeah.
Alright,
I'd say.
Alright, cool.
Alright, thank you so much,
Thanks
Matty.
guys, that was nice. Well, I did get the guys and then we'll come and do pictures. There's somewhere.